Hello people, this is Ryder here with a review of the Kamen Kabuto DX Gatack Zector. So, obviously, this is I was going to say polarizing, but this is a very interesting new release because this is from Bandai China. This is the Bandai China 2024 release of the Gatack Zector. So basically 14 years after or 17 years? That doesn't... is it 17 years? I think it's 17. 17 years after its original release, Bandai China re-released this and the Kabuto Zector, to which, if we look at the top here, this one's number 2, or 02, because the Kabuto Zector is 01, and such. And for the most part, this is just an exact one-to-one release of the original DX toy all the way back in 2007. Obviously, the box, as you can see here, is in the style of a traditional, or the new modern Ryder driver boxes, to which we have Gatack in both his mask form and Ryder form. And if you do have this in person, you can clearly tell how blurry the Ryder form image is, but I don't mind. This box, I really like it overall. Just really like how well they show off, just show it off and such. And obviously, I have to say this. Yes, despite this being a Bandai China product, obviously it's not in Mandarin. So, because you want that, then that's the bottom, because that's the warnings and such. It requires 2 AAA batteries. I'm not too sure what this is specifying exactly, but this is like the warnings and such. And again, I really like how much they go into the Kabuto aesthetic with the hexagons and such. This is the contents, the list of contents and such. The side right here, we have Gatack with the double calibers. Again, the Gatack Zector. And then the back, even though the back is again, just surprisingly, there's not really much of a blur, much instructions. Obviously this shows you how it works, but I really like this side and such. This side and this lineage of releases is really cool and such. It really makes them feel premium, even though these are retail releases in China and such. Again, I think the Kabuto one is on the other side, but again, these boxes are phenomenal. Alright, so here we have the contents poorly laid out. Obviously we have the Gatack Zector, the Zector buckle. I don't remember the specific term. The clock up pads, to which obviously in traditional DX fashion they are non-functional. The back belt buckle, to which yeah, it's in the right orientation, and our 2 belt straps and such. This is the left side, and then this is the right side and such, to which we will cover those first. Or we'll cover the belt first, because the belt, obviously, we need to kind of talk about, because obviously this was a this is a Heisei Phase 1 belt, to say at least. So, again, here we have the strap for the left side, which I think, no, this is the left side, and such. To which I really do like the loop they have here. And, again, I really do like the belt strap that Kabuto has going for it, and such. This is the left side. This is obviously the springs that go in the buckle. And this is the right side, which is, again, this is pretty standard. It's just that obviously we're missing a big thing about this. But obviously we'll get to that eventually. And then the belt buckle itself, I really do like this recolor of it, because it's the same as the Kabuto Zectors, to the point that this is, I think, supposed to be a Kabuto beetle, but obviously it's in darker colors now, but I think they work. And then obviously these switches here are now blue as opposed to red, I think, and I know this was green for Kabutos. But honestly, this buckle piece is really basic, but in a good way. And as you can see here, we got trademarked 2006 and 2005. And I think from, I don't know which lighting conditions, you can see from like here it does say right. And then can't find the L. The L is right there. So we will assemble the belt first, but before that, I guess we already covered the clock up pads, because I was going to say we don't need to cover these. They just have these holes right there. And same with this. Again, these are pretty standard. So to assemble the belt, it's pretty typical. You take the left side like so, and you clip it on. You clip it on like there, like so. But then, like, I think what I find interesting is that you don't have that much movement coming out of this, because typically you're kind of given range and such, but you're not really here. So it's kind of restrictive. And then you clip on the right one, like so. And then you want to apply the clock up pads to both sides. It's kind of unfortunate that obviously these are kind of standard, or they're kind of like the standard side buckles, so they don't really, they're just going to slide around, but then you just slide the belt stopper like so, and there we have the belt. I apologize for not knowing the names of the belts, just because obviously those are not really prominently named, because I think the box literally just names it belt strap. It's literally just called buckle. But honestly, yeah, I really do like this entire thing coming all together and such. And again, this is just an aesthetic piece, and it's just gonna keep sliding, unfortunately, but oh well. But obviously, we're stuck like this because obviously back then the belts were not detachable, which I get why that's the case, but it obviously kind of ruins the integrity of them, because obviously you don't want to keep your belts bent like this. And obviously we don't have retractable buttons and such, so obviously for the sake of this, our belt straps are stuck to this. So basically, if you want to remove the straps, you have to unscrew these 8 screws and to like gently remove them and such. But like, again, like going back, I get why that back then the belts weren't detachable. It was just because they were actual belts. Like, you know, if you want it, because, you know, it wasn't just this thing by itself. Like this thing, like this entire thing was a belt. So like, obviously if you wanted, like technically, again, this is what it was supposed to be. You just slap it onto yourself and then like put on the stopper. It's not how it is now. So I get that back then it didn't make sense for them just to make them detachable, but just keep that in mind. Unless you display your belts like this, and I guess it's fine, but just, if you want to remove the belt straps, then you're going to have to unscrew it. But obviously, we have the core piece of the set, the Gatack Zector, which I really like overall. Love the metallic blue that's all over the Zector. It's a nice, dark, like, deep blue and such, alongside the, like, metallic gold, like the sharp gold paint and such. Obviously, the base of it is black, and then we do have orange here representing the eyes. Like, this is such a really nice color scheme. And then silver right there, on-off switch back here. The switch is red. In the bottom here, we have these speaker grills and such. We have our battery compartment, which it does take 2 AAAs. As you can see from the trademark here, it is from 2006. This is where it slots into the Zector buckle. And then we got clear plastic on the center and such, which is where our LEDs are going to be. The gold button right here is a button. And here we have the legs and the boosters and such, which is also pretty neat. I think this is black paint right here for the boosters. And yeah, obviously, unlike Kabuto's, obviously these are not buttons, because obviously buttons right there. And then obviously the big thing with the Gatack Zector is you can flip the horns back to do forming like this. To which I really do like the clickiness and such. I genuinely thought it was gonna stop at an earlier point, because obviously in the show he splits it up like this, but this is the closest you can, like, it will notch in, and then it's basically like a 3 notch point. So it'll close up here, it will hold up here, and then it will hold back there and such. So I think that'll have to do with it without, or just the aesthetics. So when we switch it on like so, we have your red LED sliding through and such, and honestly, like, the sounds are like crisp and loud, and it's nice. So we have 3 sounds of the Zector. So basically we have 2 variations of it flying around or buzzing, and then the second sound of it flying. And then if we were to flip the horn, we get mistake, and then we get another sound of it forming back. And basically we get the sound of it forming. Because you can take your time. Like, this one you can do it however, but like, you can, again, skip that middle point, which is pretty interesting. But other than that, that is kind of basically all you can do. I'll bring this up. My only gripe about this is that I don't like how touchy the horns are. Like, by just touching this, I don't know why that's the case. Like, I don't like that. I don't know if this was always a flaw with the original toy. Especially because, like, this is just plastic. It's not the CSM where it's die cast. So maybe, I don't know. I feel like it will have that problem with the CSM because of how heavy it is, but it's really weird that's a case here, but yeah, I know. We'll move on. Come on. So bringing in the belt, this is kind of hard to film, but obviously to transform into Gatack, we are going to take the Gatack Zector and slide it. As you can see, we have this entire track right here. Yes, I know. And just slide it into this buckle section. As you can see, this curve perfectly aligning with this curve and such. So tension. Why is this not cooperating? It cooperated in the demo. I apologize if the LED didn't show. So there we are transforming into Gatack mask form, to which I really do like. This actually does have a coordinating sound, because if we were to press the button, we get the cannon. I really do like how the LED moves. So now, to transform into Ryder form, we want to cast off, to which we want to split the horns. To which I really do like how the LEDs correlate such. And then just fold back the horns like so. And now we are in Ryder form and such. To which I've always thought folding the horns back was like a really interesting look. It really helps stand itself out compared to Kabuto and such. It makes a really interesting silhouette, and I really do like how it reveals this section of the Gatack Zector and such. But now, traditionally at this point, you would just jump to doing the finisher. However, as stated, I think it was stated before, if you were to hold the button down, we are now achieved clock up. Obviously, because you can't use the clock up pad, they put it in the Zector itself. And then you can let this run for, I think, like 40 seconds. And then it will clock over. But you can't end it earlier than that by just pressing it again. Sadly, you cannot, the sounds do not overlap, so you cannot do the finisher while the clock up is on. You have to do them separately and such, because basically doing anything during clock up and then trying to do anything else, it'll just end it or just interrupt it. So the last thing you can do is obviously the Ryder kick by pressing this 3 times. So obviously after that countdown, it will continue zooming left to right, to which we want to fold the horns back, like so. And then open them up again. So we get the same standby as the cast off, and then fold it back. And then we get the Ryder kick. Sadly, we don't get the finisher, or we don't get a finisher sound, or an attack sound, like what the CSMs added. However, just because, you know, this is more authentic to the DX version, I don't mind personally. And that is basically it, though there are some things I do want to point out, because I forgot the last thing that you can do is obviously when you fold this back, put on, which obviously just reverts Gatack back into mask form. And then to remove the Zector, you want to press both buttons like so, and then remove them like so, or just slide it out. So the first thing I want to show off, or additional thing I want to show off, is when you fold this up, flip it back into Mistake, and then transform straight into Ryder form. And then when you fold it back, you don't get put on. And then when you switch it off and switch this on when it's in the buckle, I just wanted to point those out. So yeah, that is the Gatack Zector, the Bandai China re-release of the Gatack Zector, to which obviously I'm going to say I really enjoy it, just because it has set inside favoritism, and I guess childhood nostalgia. This is a really solid belt overall. Like, just the fact that this happened is really ecstaticing. And I apologize if I'm using the word ecstatic too much, but like, it's just it feels so good just playing around with this. I like the heft of the Gatack Zector. It feels really nice in the hand and such. And like, I'll turn it off. But just slotting the Gatack Zector into the belt feels so nice. I like that clicky. Alright, I like that loud click. And then just the sounds it produces is like really nice and such. And like just sliding it off is like so quiet and such. Like, it's because you can just like, the fact that this is not really that heavy, or it gets not really that this thing isn't really like holding it on that much. It's literally only holding it down by these two clips and such. Like, it just feels, this feels so nice just messing around with, honestly. Like, I've already stated my gripes. I just don't like how sensitive the horns are on the Gatack Zector. And obviously, as I said before, it would have been nice if this release was able to update the finishers to be up to the scale of the CSMs, because I don't think I will be covering the FIES re-releases from Bandai China. But the FIES driver and the Kaixa drivers actually did update their finishers to be the CSM ones. So it would have been neat if the Kabuto Zector and the Gatack Zector had that same extent. But honestly, I think the addition of Clock Up, I think, honestly, is good enough. Like, it would have been fine if this was just a straight up re-release with like just, I mean, I don't think aesthetic wise anything is new. I think it is just the same color choices, or it's the same like color. It's just that, you know, it's probably in paint that won't weather over the year. But I'll honestly take the addition of Clock Up over extending the finisher. Because again, if it was true from what we learned from last year, we were supposed to get a version 2 of the CSM release of the Gatack Zector, and obviously I'm going for that. Such. Yes, you can gripe about the Clock Up not being accurate to the Gatack Zector specifically, because it's not in the same voice. But I mean, in the show, the Clock Up was never consistent, because sometimes within the show, when Gatack used it, it would be Kabuto's Clock Up and such. Obviously, I think I said this. I got this off of Collectibles for, technically it's full price of $80, to which I think in China it was $70. So basically paying $10 for shipping, I don't think that's too bad, because this was basically in the same price range as a traditional driver. So I think it's worth it, worth the pickup. It's just, I don't know if Toy Collectibles is still holding on to orders, or still has this in stock, because then you're probably going to have to be quick about it, because the Kabuto Zector weirdly got delisted, but this was still up. And then I think the FIES drivers, I think, are still up, if you are looking forward to those. But I think I've said this when I initially just got this in my Toy Collectibles order, but I would generally like to see what Bandai China has next within these re-releases, because I honestly, I was saying that they probably should have done like the Zeranos. They should re-release the Zeranos belt next, but like I think I would want to change that and just see if they were to actually release additional stuff from like the series they already have. For example, it would be kind of neat if they did re-release the DX Hyper Zector, but actually include obviously Hyper Gatack, and hopefully it's the actual accurate version of the announcement as opposed to the new version they did for the CSM version. Because Hyper Gatack has 3 announcements now. One from the Hyper Battle video, one from the PS2 game, and one from the CSM. But and also it's just because, you know, I think they would probably re-release the stuff for Fies, so it's like I don't see it hurting them to re-release an additional thing for Kabuto and Gatack and such. But because like generally I don't know if I will pick up any more of the Bandai China belt releases, just because I want it to be a belt that I actually genuinely want. Or that I was like really eager to get back then, because everything else is just kind of like, you know, Heisei Phase 2. But again, I think for my childhood self, I'm very happy to own this thing and such, just because Gatack, without basically the Kabuto Hyper Battle video, I probably wouldn't have my love for, not, I don't know how to phrase it, but the start of me actually like watching Kamen probably would have started later, but I'm happy that it started with the Gatack or with the Kabuto Hyper Battle video. So now I have to do this review. This is Ryder, and I'll leave you people. Bye.